Hello again, everybody. This is Derek, aka Mr. Everything, and I'm coming back at you with another role playing video. We are starting a new campaign for Roll20 in the Harn world. We're going to be using HarnMaster. We're going to be using the Harn universe. It's going to be a self-written adventure. I'm taking all the information from Harn, and what I'm doing is I'm building out an epic campaign. Hopefully everyone will enjoy. And we have a few players already signed up, but the invitation is open. That's what this video is about, is to let you know that we do have a couple more slots available. If you're interested in playing, then go to Roll20, go to search for my HarnMaster is the name of the campaign. Look for that. Or you might find my name, which is Derek, Darick, on the in Roll20. Find and join, or drop me an invite, or a private message or something, so that I can tell you more details about the campaign. Okay, so let me tell you just a basic rundown of HarnMaster and the Harn world, so that you're not caught off guard. HarnMaster is not Dungeons and Dragons. It's not a D20 system at all. It's a percentile die system. It's a skill-based system. So you'll have a skill in things like broadsword or shield or riding or awareness or hearing, things like this. You'll have various skills with percentage dice, and basically you'll roll less than your skill percentage to succeed. You can get critical success, critical failures, marginal success, marginal failures, and based on what you're trying to do, there'll be different results, and that's really for the game master to worry about. You won't have to worry about any of that, really. Character creation might take a little extra time because it's going to be new for a lot of players, not really knowing much about Harn. If you don't know much about Harn, it might take you a minute to make a character. If you are very familiar with Harn, it might be a lot faster for you. I'm actually hoping to get a bunch of people who have not played Harn to join my campaign, because this would give them an opportunity to learn a new system, enjoy a completely fresh outlook on a campaign, and not be tainted by other campaigns that you might have played in. If you've ever watched any of my streams, they've almost always been D&D. And a D&D game is going to play a lot differently than a Harn game is going to play. Primarily, Harn is its attempt, or its philosophy is an attempt to be as realistic as possible, without sacrificing too much enjoyment, because you don't want to be a farmer and having to roll to see how much crop you yield. That is something you could do, but that's not what this game is going to be about. I'm planning on making the players part of the nobility, even if they're lower nobility, so that they are permitted to carry weapons, permitted to go on adventures or seek out quests and things like this, because if you're not a noble, you're pretty much landlocked. Your lord tells you what you can and can't do, and you're not free to just roam the countryside. That's not how medieval society worked. So, I mean, there are some free people, but 99% of them are part of the surf class, which uh, are pretty much stuck in a rut, really. Um, Now, there are free people, and it's a possibility that there are free people that can wander with you, but why would a free jeweler, let's say a gilded jeweler, be traveling with a bunch of adventurers? So it's um, so what I've done is I've decided to make all the players part of the lower nobility. Plus, this campaign will have political intrigue and turmoil and espionage and politics, and it'll all be going on. The king and the queen and the earls and the dukes and all that, and they are going to have interactions. And the players, I want them to be able to be impacted. Well, maybe not impacted. I want the players to be able to manipulate or manage those, and you can't do that as a serf or a peasant. You can only do that if you're part of the nobility, and so that's another reason why. Plus, all the best weapons and armor is reserved for the nobility, and uh, if you're a peasant walking around in full plate, which there is no full plate, but if you were a peasant walking around in chainmail, let's say, you would immediately be arrested because it's not something you're allowed to do. Plus, religion is a very big influence in medieval society. So there are a number of gods in the Harn universe, and the kingdom that the players are going to start in have a couple of gods that they worship, and that I'm going to call them clergy. The clergy of a specific church is going to have specific motivations and desires, and a clergy or priest or archbishop or whoever from another church is going to have a different set of desires and faith, and they believe in different things. They might be in conflict or they might be working together, and part of that influences heavily the noble factions and the peasants as well. It's influenced by the presence of these gods in the universe, and no one wants to upset the gods, right? And so the religions almost have as much power as the nobility, almost. And then in addition to that, there is the Shek Pavar, which is uh, a magic order, a college, if you will, of wizards that a player can be a member of, but you are treated as not an outsider, but with suspicion because you're you've got this magical power, but it doesn't come from religion. So what are you doing? And those wizards also are very secretive and don't share their powers with anybody. They also don't display those powers due to the fact that they are ostracized by society. So they try to keep that under the hat, They try to keep that a secret. And then there is, and that's what the players are. I'm going to allow one cleric, one wizard, and the rest are all going to be young knights. And if that's some kind of game that you want to be a part of, again, go to Roll20, look up HarnMaster. The game master is Derek. That's myself, Darick. And if you're a new player, never played Harn before, want to play Harn, have heard a lot of good things about it, and you want to get involved, you're welcome. open arms. My group is very good at helping new players. First of all, my group is all new to Harn. We're all new. If you're new to the game, never played it before, you're going to fit in just perfect with the rest of the group because none of us have played any HarnMaster or Harn World. I am a fairly new DM to Harn. Well, I'm a baby when it comes to Harn. I have played a ton of other role-playing games. You know, you can see it in my videos, but I've played HarnMaster, RuneQuest, The Fantasy Trip, GURPS. The list can go on, but I when I read the books for Harn, I fell in love, and if you join my campaign, I think you would fall in love with it as well. You might notice that I didn't say anything about elves or dwarves or halflings or tieflings or dragonborn or gnomes or what are some of the other races that you might think are available. They're not. They're not available. Elves do exist. I don't want my players playing elves. Dwarves do exist, but I don't want my players playing a dwarf because they are alien. You are a human. The party is a human. The kingdom is human. If you see an elf wandering through, it would be an anomaly. It would be, first of all, it's not ever going to happen because elves don't leave their forests. Dwarves do travel in trade, but pretty much that's it. They don't leave their mountain fortresses. They're very Tolkien when it comes to elves and dwarves. But this is a human kingdom. We're going to start in a kingdom called Caldor. You can see it right there. It's in the square on the map, and it's got the red pen stuck in there. And that square and that red pen is going to be deleted once the party starts moving around the world. Just as an aside, each of those hexes you see on that map, if you look in really closely, those hexes, each one is 20 kilometers. So that's really not that big. What is that about? Well, in the game, it winds up being 12.5 miles or 1 Harnic League. That's the scale. So you could go easily 2 hexes in a day. That's not a problem at all. But when you zoom in on the kingdom, you'll see that, like right there on that screen, you'll see like maybe a dozen cities and towns. But that's only the major cities and towns. When you zoom in, there are cities and towns all over the place. But we don't need to get into all that. That would be something that I would share with the players once we've got them invited. We are going to be starting May 3rd. We're going to be playing every Wednesday starting May 3rd. We're going to start at 7 p.m. Central Time. That's U.S. Central Time. 7 p.m. and we'll play for 4 hours every Wednesday till 11 p.m. So if 7 to 11 is not conducive to you, then don't join this campaign. If your work or your school or something prevents you from playing on that day, do not ask to sign up. Also, we will be using Discord for both voice and video. So you will need to have a webcam and it needs to be turned on. So there's no hidden voices, mysterious voices in the mist. No, you will have a face associated with your player character, you and your character. You will be able to see the other players and how they interact, facial expressions, hand gestures. It will all be on camera. You have to have a camera. And obviously you have to be able to talk. We're not using the Roll20 video and voice because I've found that having too many programs accessing my cameras cause a little bit of problem. So what I do is I use uh, OBS to capture everyone's camera, and then I broadcast it. Now, I don't think that I'm going to be broadcasting on YouTube, just letting you know. I think, this is not 100%, that we're going to be broadcasting on Rumble. So uh, there's a smaller role playing community on Rumble, and so there might be more of an opportunity to spread the word. If you haven't figured it out, uh, I'm using this as an opportunity to spread the word about Harn and how great it is. The They're refreshing all their books. They just had a number of Kickstarters finish, and this Harn World and HarnMaster have been around for what now 40 years. So um, it's almost as old as D&D, and it has a ton of information. I don't want to get into all the details because that's just going to make this video last way longer. Okay, final thoughts. HarnMaster on Roll20 starting May 3rd, Wednesday nights, 7 to 11. Must have Discord, voice, and video. I think that's everything. It's in the Kaldor Kingdom. The player characters are going to be nobility, lesser nobility, brand new nobilities, just knighted kind of thing. It's in a world that is very much a feudal England, like 1200. Chainmail is the predominant armor, not plate. There is no full plate, actually. It doesn't exist. Magic is real, but you'll almost never see it. It's not like everyone carries a magical sword. That would be unrealistic. Think like a cross between Game of Thrones and the Arthurian legends, right? So you've got the various factions vying for power over the kingdom, and each one has their own agendas. There's religion in the background. Like in Game of Thrones, did you ever see any clerics healing anybody magically? No. Did you ever see any wizards cast a spell like a fireball or something? No. I mean, you did see the White Walkers, right? And they had magic, and you had like that magical blade or whatever that could kill a White Walker or whatever. I don't remember the whole story, but just understand that magic is rare, monsters exist, and gods are present. So it's probably a little bit more magic than Game of Thrones. Plus, there's a few things that I want to add to the game to make it a little bit more magical, a little bit more fantastical, and a little less gritty and super realistic, because there's no armor class. You don't like put armor on and have like, I got an armor class of 12. No, you have, if you put a gauntlet on, you will have protection from a hit that hits that gauntlet. If you put a breastplate on, it only protects if that hit hits the chest. That's the way the system works. Plus, if you get hit, you're probably, and if it gets through the armor, you are probably injured. And if you're injured, there's a chance you're out of the fight. So any person in the game could actually be knocked out in one hit. So even the best knight. It's lower chance to happen, but it can happen. And okay, so that was the summary. Nobles, Caldor, gritty, low magic. Religion is very important. There's a little bit of a power struggle going on. I'm writing my own campaign. We only need a couple of players because we've got a pretty good core set already. New players are strongly encouraged. I really would love to have some new players jump in our group and learn the Harn universe. I'm not excluding veterans. I just want you to know that I might do things differently than what you're used to. Just be prepared for that. And Discord voice and video. Pretty much it. All right, guys. Thanks for coming out and watching this announcement video. It was a little longer than I anticipated. And I'll catch you frequently in my next videos. Be sure to watch the tutorials on character creation and things like that. All right, I'm out.